Saturday, with many leagues on their winter break or otherwise inactive as we start 2022, consider this a curtailed look ahead at what's coming up over the next 2 days. Flag England in England, and at the time of writing there are 3 games scheduled to survive the current wave of coronavirus cases sweeping through the league. Game of the day probably comes in the early kickoff as leaders Manchester City travel to Arsenal. Both clubs have enjoyed a successful festive period with the Gunners up to 4th in the table and City now looking to extend their 10-match winning streak. Elsewhere, Watford will look to snap their run of 5 defeats at home to relatively near neighbours Tottenham Hotspur. And finally, West Ham make the short trip to play fellow Londoners, Crystal Palace. Trophy also set to take place on Saturday as the second leg of the final in the heavily delayed 2020 AFF Suzuki Cup, currently being held in Singapore. The tournament is usually biannual and determines the champions of Southeast Asia. Thailand's 4 elephants will be thinking they've already got one hand on the trophy after a comprehensive 4-0 win in the first leg, but could Indonesia pull off one of the biggest shocks in 2022 on the very first day of the year? Flag England in theory. 5 Premier League games due to take place on Sunday, including the heavyweight clash between former Dortmund managers Thomas Tuchel and Jurgen Klopp. Chelsea take on Liverpool at Stamford Bridge, having dropped 4 of their last 2 league games, a period in which Tuchel has been without a number of key players. Klopp has faced similar issues as Liverpool, and indeed the Reds are without a win since facing Newcastle in mid-December. Also on the slate for Sunday are games involving 7 of the sides who find themselves in the bottom half of the table. The worst placed of those, Newcastle United 19th, go to Southampton, whilst Leeds United 16th and Burnley 18th play each other. Spain. In Spain, La Liga officials announced that there have been 138 positive coronavirus cases reported ahead of the league's return to action following the Christmas break. Nevertheless, all of the weekend's games are supposedly going ahead. Leaders Real Madrid visit Getafe without guaranteed starters like Thibaut Courtois and Vinicius Jr., whilst defending champions Atletico Madrid must play this season's surprise package Rayo Vallecano without coach Diego Simeone in the dugout. Barcelona have had 10 positive cases over the festive period but will still fulfill their fixture at Mallorca. France. The Coupe de France has reached the round of 32, and as is befitting of a competition so grand in terms of scale, over 7,000 teams take part. 10 sides from amateur levels of the French game are still involved. One of them, the 5th-tier US Chauvigny, even faced the might of Marseille. And Stade Reims, 15th in Ligue 1, make the unfamiliar trip to Bayonne, another side from the regionalized 5th tier. Also worth following will be as Monaco's game as 2012 finalists Quevilly, currently making their way back through the division, having dropped to the 4th division as part of a merger. If you want to follow any of the games mentioned above, subscribe to our channel.